Are you ready to find true happiness? Today, we're exploring Aristotle's Nichomachean ethics.
This ancient guide to a fulfilling life examines the pursuit of happiness, the importance of virtue, and what it really means to live well.
Aristotle believed happiness, or eudaimonia, is not just a fleeting feeling, but a state of being. It's about achieving balance, making virtuous choices, and nurturing our minds and souls.
Our journey today covers Aristotle's key ideas across his 10 books, from finding purpose to understanding the importance of friendship. So let's dive in. To start with Book 1, Aristotle tackles the life's biggest question. What is the ultimate goal for humans? He suggests that there is a concept called the human good, or the ultimate purpose we aim for in our actions, like an archer shooting at a target. To clarify, he examines that there are 3 common ways of life focused on pleasure, honor, and virtue. Aristotle acknowledges that pleasure and honor have their place and importance in a human life. He argues that the life of virtue, acting with goodness for its own sake, is the true path to happiness. For example, think about the satisfaction we get from helping others. We are not just doing it for praises. We feel fulfilled because it is a human act. This fulfillment is what Aristotle means by happiness. Something self-sufficient, chosen for its own sake, deeply connected to our soul and character. And it is not all or nothing. Aristotle says external goods like friends, wealth, and power help us reach happiness. But these aren't the focus. They're just helpful. Ultimately, he concludes happiness is a self-sufficient good, chosen for its own sake, and deeply connected to our soul and character.
Book 2 is all about how we develop virtues, which Aristotle says as habits. Imagine that being generous isn't something you're born with. It is a skill you build over time by repeatedly acting generously. Virtue, he says, lies between 2 extremes, excess and deficiency, which he calls vices. For instance, courage is the balance between cowardice and recklessness. This golden mean isn't the same for everyone. It depends on the person and situations. This isn't a one-size-fits-all approach. The right balance of actions may look different from different people or situation. It's like a custom-made suit. It needs to fit your circumstances, not just some universal standard. Practicing balance, Aristotle says, over time builds a good character, just like training for any skills. Aristotle believes that by repeating good actions like being honest or kind, these traits become part of us. Just as someone who practices generosity regularly becomes generous. Someone who consistently chooses the middle path in their actions becomes virtuous.
The book 3 focuses on choice and responsibility. Aristotle believes we are accountable for our voluntary actions. If we knowingly make a choice, it reveals our character and values. He distinguishes between voluntary actions and those driven by fear or ignorance. For instance, imagine someone who makes a harmful decision in a stressful situation. They may deserve compassion more than blame because the choice wasn't entirely free. Aristotle sees real choice as something that comes from careful thought or deliberation. Let's say someone chooses each day to express gratitude even in tough situations. Over time, that repeated choice shapes them into a grateful person. He is reminding us that every small choice matters. These decisions, whether big or small, become habits and then define who we are. We are crafting our own character each day.
In Book 4, Aristotle dives into the specific virtues that create balance in life. Take liberality or generosity, for instance. It's about knowing how and when to give without being wasteful or stingy. Consider magnificence, which is about tasteful, large-scale giving like supporting community projects. Think of a philanthropist supporting causes, not to show off, but because they care deeply about the cause. Aristotle says true magnificence is about wisdom, aligning your generosity with the occasion without going overboard. He also touches on magnanimity, a balance between humility and pride. A magnanimous person recognizes their worth but avoids arrogance. This balance, Aristotle suggests, guides us to live life meaningfully. Aristotle's view on virtues shows us that a good life isn't just about what we do, but how we do it. Every virtue is a balance, guided by wisdom and reason.
Justice in Book 5 is essential for a balanced society. Aristotle even calls it the most complete virtue because it's about treating others fairly, not just focusing on ourselves. He defines two types of justice: distributive, which allocates resources fairly among people, and rectificatory, which corrects unfairness in individual transactions. Aristotle sees justice as the moral glue that holds society together. He even describes equity, which steps in when strict justice doesn't work perfectly. It's a flexible form of fairness that adjusts for unique circumstances. Think of a judge who considers special circumstances rather than rigidly applying the law. This is equity in action. For Aristotle, justice is foundational as it strengthens society by promoting fairness and moral behavior.
Book 6 moves into intellectual virtue, especially phronesis, or practical wisdom, which help us apply knowledge in real life. Think of it as knowing not only what's right, but how to make the right decisions. Aristotle also introduced Sophia, or theoretical wisdom, which combines knowledge of the natural world with deeper insights into life's truth. Nous, or intelligence or intuition, is the ability to understand truth without reasoning, an immediate insight into the knowledge. He believes wisdom is the highest intellectual virtue because it involves a profound understanding of both science and ethics. Together with practical wisdom, it's essential for living a balanced life. Aristotle's intellectual virtue reminds us that knowledge also isn't enough. We also need the skill to use it wisely in our everyday lives. It's like knowing how to cook but also needing the judgment to prepare a balanced, healthy meal.
In Book 7, Aristotle explores self-restraint and lack of control, or incontinence. Self-restraint is about resisting excessive pleasures, while lack of control is when we act against our better judgment. Aristotle notes that there are two main forms of incontinence: over bodily pleasures like food or comfort, and over emotions like anger. The former builds a healthier and more fulfilling life. He also says that giving into bodily pleasures is more shameful than being overwhelmed by anger. Imagine the difference between a person who splurges impulsively and one who can resist but feels tempted. Aristotle acknowledges that struggle, but he believes that balance and moderation lead to the most fulfilling happiness. Aristotle ultimately sees pleasures in virtuous actions, finding true happiness in balancing our desires in a way that aligns with the reasons.
Book 8 covers friendships, which Aristotle views as crucial for a happy life. He divides friendships into three types: utility, pleasure, and virtue.
Friendships of utility are based on practical benefits, while friendships of pleasure are based on shared enjoyment. But the highest form, friendships of virtue, are based on mutual respect and admiration.
Aristotle believes virtuous friendships encourage us to strive for goodness and support our moral growth. Imagine a friend who always challenges you to be better. They're rare, but they add incredible value to life.
In fact, Aristotle suggests friendship is so essential that it's even more important for legislators than justice.
Friendship, he says, is what binds society together and encourages people to act with kindness.
In Book 9, Aristotle looks closely at friendship and self-love, and he suggests that loving oneself is a good thing, as long as it's for the right reasons. Instead of selfishness, he sees self-love as wanting the best for oneself in a balanced way, which actually helps us treat others well too.
Exactly. Aristotle links self-love with goodwill, suggesting that when we genuinely respect ourselves, we naturally act kindly toward others. True self-love, he says, leads to ethical actions that benefit not only ourselves but those around us.
He even connects this to what he calls political friendship, where unity among citizens create a strong society. Aristotle believes that a society with goodwill, where people want the best for each other, will thrive better than one bound only by rules.
In fact, Aristotle suggests that this kind of friendship might be even more important than justice, as it fosters kindness and respect, strengthening both personal relationships and the community as a whole.
For the last book, Aristotle addresses pleasure, saying it is important but not the ultimate good. He argues that true pleasure comes from virtuous action that bring lasting fulfillment rather than quick satisfaction.
He compares this to the life of study, which he considered the highest form of happiness. For Aristotle, studying isn't just about learning facts. It's about pursuing wisdom and connecting with deeper truths, bringing a joy that doesn't depend on external rewards.
Aristotle believes that this life of study is a balanced, self-sufficient happiness. It is his ultimate vision of a good life, one that combines practical virtues with intellectual growth for a deep and lasting sense of purpose.
Now, what is Aristotle's ultimate message? Happiness isn't about momentary pleasure, but about a life of balanced virtues, wise choices, and fulfilling relationships. Remember,
Build your life with purpose. Happiness follows those who choose wisely each day.
A fulfilled life isn't stumbled upon. It's crafted through thoughtful choices every single day.
True happiness is not just found but built through every choice we make. Happiness is in the details, in the small, everyday decisions that lead us closer to our best selves.
A meaningful life isn't just made, it is maintained, one mindful choice at a time.
So, Aristotle's path to happiness isn't about quick fixes. It's about building a life of virtue, wise choices, and meaningful relationships. Thanks again, and remember, the journey to happiness and wisdom is ongoing. Make each choice count. See you all next time!